Tonight is the barn door, and the actual name of it is barn door, right? Pretty simple. This is a bundle in the Occasions catalog. It's the stamp set, which has the door, these really great sentiments, a wreath, two kinds of wreaths to go on the front of the barn door. In the Thinlits, give you the hardware to create your door, and the door is actually going to slide. It gives you the door, one, two, and actually this is a square wreath. It doesn't have a stamp that goes with it, but it's really cool. These are the handle and the tracks. I have it flipped over. That's the handle and the tracks of the door, the sign, the wreath. The wreath is cool. This wreath is the one that looks like this. This wreath is the one with a bow. On this one, you can also cut these three flowers by themselves using this, or you could cut each one of them. So what's cool about that is you could stamp this twice in two different colors, so that then your flowers could be one color, and we'll get to that. And then this one gives you the option of cutting the entire wreath with a bow, and then just the bow. So lots and lots and lots, okay? All right, so let's see what this is. And because it's a little bit of mechanics, I thought I would show you how we do it first in white, and then we'll actually create it from the beginning. So if you look at the original plan of how this was designed and they wanted you to do it, they want you to use number 6 washers. Oh, okay, so I have a collection of washers, and I thought, well, they look about the right size. Well, they really don't work very well. So I'm going to show you what it is that you want it to do, and if you can find, oh, here's a couple others. I didn't go to the hardware store. I went to my husband's toolbox, and I thought he would have what I needed, and he just didn't. So what you're going to want to do if you want to use the washer, but I'm going to show you another way so you don't have to. But if you want to use the washers, you want to make sure that the mini dimensional, the little one, doesn't go through the hole in the middle. And see, as these kind of go down through and they sink down in, they don't work very well. This one I might get away with, but can you see how the mini dimensional kind of goes down in a little? You don't want it to do that. So plan B is you take your 3/4 inch punch and you punch a bunch of circles, and they will work as well. So I'm going to move these washers. I'll show you how to do one, even though they're not the right ones. I mocked it up a little bit, and I put a piece of Scotch tape behind it so I could show you how it's supposed to go. But these washers, because the dimensional goes down inside, you really don't need the hole in the middle. If you could find just a flat circle, you could use that. The washer part is a little deceiving because you really don't want the dimensional to go down inside. So you want something, a super tiny hole in the middle and just a thin metal disc or a punch. All right, so what's going to happen if you were using the washer? You're going to take, if you look at the sketch, it's going to be 4 by 5 1/4 is the piece, and that's going to become the background for your door. I've done a little bit of this ahead of time so I can kind of show you in stages. So I took that, and you're going to use this. Now let's go over to, just a sec, we're going to go over to the other camera, but you don't want me. You want the big shot. So let's get rid of me, and let's go. Janet, how are you? Welcome. How's your husband? Goodness, Janet's hubby has been sick. Okay, so here we are now over at the big shot, and I'm going to take this, This is the part that's going to make the slider, okay? So I'm going to take my 4 by 5 1/4 and I'm going to position this. I'm going to bring this down a little bit closer to the bottom than I am to the top because I need to leave the room for this piece, okay? Hold on just a sec. I need to stop Facebook because that slows everything down here. So I need to make sure that I have room to put the hardware for the door at the top. All right? So I'm going to slide it down a little bit. So it's going to be a little closer to the bottom than the top. And I'm going to run it through. You want to make sure it's straight. Don't let it get crooked or it's going to make you crazy. If your magnet plate starts to give you a hard time, you just kind of wiggle it a little. And run it through. Sounds awful. Sounds like it's breaking. It's not. It's just a big flat opening. All right, let's go back to the other camera. And you'll see that I have this. These are the sliders where my door position, my door hardware is going to go. So let me move you over there. I'll do this with you. If I were using the washer and I had one that the centerpiece wasn't too little, I'm going to put this down and put this piece here. I'm basically going to make a sandwich between the washers. Okay? You're going to do the same thing with your little pieces, your little punches. And I'm going to put 2 on each side, top and bottom. I'm going to take my mini dimensionals and pop them in the middle. So let's do this side first. And I position you in here. Slide it all the way over. And you do the same thing and slide you all the way over. Okay? Now, I need to put the pieces on the top. But if I used, can you see that in the white? Yeah. I took these pieces and I just snipped a little bit off the top, a little piece off. Because if I didn't, if I use a full-size piece, a full-size circle top and bottom, and then I put my door on, you can, the door kind of peeks, the circles kind of peek out, right? So the easiest way to do it is to just snip a little piece off the top and the bottom. Then I'm going to attach the door. Let's make the door. I'm going to move you guys over. And we're going to take a piece of, now you could use any color that you want. This is the door stamp. I'm using Whisper White so you guys can see it, and I'm using chocolate chip. But I think once you get thinking about this, you might use some really different colors. You could do a red door, a pink door, a green door, it doesn't matter what color you use. And pop that right on here. And stamp. Isn't it great? The detail on that door. Think about how you could color this door too. If you wanted to use your blends, you would use your Memento ink. If you're going to use your watercolor pencils, you'd be okay. And now we're going to bring this over. This time though, I want that piece. That's the inside piece. That's the door. When you saw it on the sheet, it was tucked inside here. So this is the door. And I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to trim this down just a little so it'll fit. And pop you in. And then line this up. Nice and even around the door. And run this on through. It really sounds horrible on these doors. All right. So now I have my door. It's the same as this one, but what this has is the hardware pieces, and I cut, those are these itty bitty little hinges, these little sliders. And you're going to cut those, and you're going to attach just the top and leave this flopping. You're not going to attach that to anything. You're just going to attach the top. You can use the mono, or I like the control of this one, the fine tip, because it's really pretty little. But anywho, before we get to that, let's come to this now. So now we've got to make this slide. So remember I said I'm gonna snip off a little piece. All right. And I'm gonna peel off the top of my dimensional, and I'm gonna put this on. Before I put it on, I'm gonna attach it to the back of my door. And I'm gonna use my snail because I might need to move it, but I wanna kind of get an idea of where it's gonna go. This one's already been glued down, that's why it's got that little dot there. I'm gonna put you, because I want it to be right at the top. Okay? And then this one, I'm gonna do the same thing. So this is gonna go like this, all right? And stick that down. And then this one, now if I were using the washers, I would have glued the washers down already. What did you use to cut the door slots? There is these right here. It is, I don't know, they're gone forever, Cheryl. I just had it here a second ago. It's one, you have a die that does it. Let me put this down before I lose it, and then I will show you. Again, you're going to make sure this doesn't show, and you pop that right in. And now my door will slide, right? I don't know what I do with the pieces. All right, who can look at the table and see? They're gone forever. There's two dies missing now, the door and, really, they're gone. I've had them. Oh, here they are, they're underneath. Gee whiz. It's this, and this piece goes on, and it cuts both of those slots at the same time. So it's the right size, the right positioning. It's super easy. This is what cuts your slots. And now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And you have a couple of choices. It slides better if it has a top and a bottom. But you could do it with just the door stuck to the top, right? But it works better if you have a top and a bottom. Now, notice how you can see my circle. If you don't like seeing the circle, you could slide this over all the way and slide your door a little bit further to the left. Let me see if I can do it without ruining the whole thing. Come off. Come off. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that so I don't confuse you completely. I just need to attach my dimensionals here. Make sure you're only stuck on your circle. So instead of putting the door right tight on the edge, come over just a little. And then when you slide, you won't see those white pieces. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to attach this side. And again, I'm doing the same thing with the circle with the top cut. I'm going to glue that down. It just gives it a little more stability than just gluing it to the door. Get in there. Don't pull that tab off till you're absolutely ready. There, slide you over. Okay. So I bring my door over to where I want it, stick it down, and I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Again, it's the mini dimensionals that fit in that slot. Okay? So seriously, this is the trickiest part. It's really not hard. It's just kind of a little tedious. Get it in there. Take this, snip. I think the cardboard is actually, the cardstock is actually easier to work with than the metal gizmos. And it doesn't add the weight to your card that those do, but it's completely up to you. And now the door, oh, this one is glued in up here. The door slides back and forth. Okay? All right, so now what am I going to do? Now I got to put this together. So I'm going to flip it over. Yeah, I know it's pretty paper in the back, but I wanted you to see a bright color back here. And now I'm going to take my plastic tiddlywinks. You could, if you had the little teeny ones, because you got to make sure that they're not going to stick out below here or below here, mostly the bottom. But yeah, if you had those little ones, bingo chips maybe might work. You just need to make a sandwich. So two things, whatever you're going to use, tiddlywinks or cardstocks or washers that fit a mini dimensional between them, right? So basically it's this and a mini dimensional, and that's what's going to slide. The mini dimensional is what's actually in your slider. A small buttons might work. Yep. Then once you get this assembled, you get your door assembled, then you're going to use these are the things that you use, the foam strips that you use for shaker cards. And you're going to run those. I've already got them on this one. Let me show you. You're going to run them in a strip on either side. That's why you have to make sure that what you use is small enough that lets it slide along here, because you really don't have a lot of room. But you need to do this so that when you put it down on the top of the card, it can still slide. Okay? All right, so let me flip you over. And you put this along here. So what I did when I made the first one was I ended up cutting those circles again. These, I ended up making them smaller so that I had more room. And that's where, if you had a button or something, it would have to be pretty teeny. Because once this is glued to the door, it's not going to pull through. And then I'm going to put this along here. And another one. If it didn't look so cute, I would say it is not worth the work, but it looks so adorable. And then you can put different sentiments on either side of the door. So it's not even a card that really has to open, although it can. And this goes along here. And this kind of gives it a little more stability to the card so it doesn't squash down on your sliders. And one more. And this is going to go right here. Okay? And then we peel all these little pieces off. And you can do all kinds of things to this background piece. You could run this, you could run through your embossing folder so it looks like wood. You could use the pattern paper. You could stamp on it. You can color. Did I get everybody? Oh no, I missed you. Okay. Everybody's done. Now I'm ready to attach it to the card. Bring this in. And you can see because it's popped up like that, it gives room for the door to slide. Now my problem is one of these isn't working well. But it slides back and forth. Now I'm ready to put the track on. Something is sticking right here, up here. So now I have to cut the track. This is the track. So I'm going to cut that, and I need to cut the handle, which is right here, and then the two pieces of hardware that go on the track, and they're these pieces right here. All right, so I'm going to cut those from black. All right, let's bring you little babies over here. Come here. They're super tiny. And we put those right there. Oh, get over there. Magnets make these do some weird things sometimes. And then you put your cover on. All right, so there's my track. And then my little hardware. It's so cute. And then my handle. There's also a stamp for the handle if you wanted. It's itty bitty, but you could stamp the handle. If you didn't want to cut that out of black, you could stamp that if you were doing different colors. Joey, when you come in, you can't replay from here. I will record this and pop it up. So just watch from now, and then the replay will be up after. No worries at all. So if any of you have missed some of it, don't worry. I will record this and pop it up as soon as it's processed in like 20 minutes maybe. Okay? All right, so now I need to put the track, and that's going to go right here. So that's why I say I like the fine tip glue. This is just so much easier to work with. Not if you don't take both caps off. You just take the white cap off. And then you can get really detailed. If I use the mono, I usually end up with it all over myself because I can't get this fine. It works. You can use it if that's the one you have. And then you just stick that down like so. And then I'm going to take these. Oh goodness, have I already lost one? And I'm going to glue the circle part down, and I'm going to leave the tab. Oh no, I did it the wrong way. I'm going to glue, hold on. I'm going to glue the tab part on. The round are the things that have to roll on the track in Make Believe Land. So they're going to go like this. And it's going to look like that's rolling across there. I seem to be losing everything today. I lost my handle and my other rollers. My. Oh, there we are. Everything was just hiding. So this little piece. Goes like this. This one seems a little crooked. I will tell you, in reality, the barn door can often be crooked too. There's that, and let those dry. So the top, the little rollers don't really attach to anything. They're just there to look cool. And then the handle, and you can kind of give it a little curl if you want, and only attach the two ends if you want a little bit more realism. Or you drop it down in the crack. Tweezers are helpful because it seriously is so little. Get over there. And then what you have left to do are your sentiments and decorate the door. So let me show you how the wreaths work. They're really cute. Oh, this fine tip, as I'm messing over here, I should probably show you. It has this little tiny needle, and it goes down in the hole to keep this open. So when you put it back, next time you open it, it's not clogged and hardened. So it works out great. So there's my card. I'm going to move you over to the side so I don't get into trouble. And we're going to look at some of the other options in here. So let's say I like this wreath, but I want it in, I want the outside of the wreath in Lemon Lime Twist. And I want, no, you're too pink. I want, which one do I want? Ooh, let's go with Wisteria Wonder for our flowers, just to be different. And you're thinking, well, the flowers are part of it. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to get myself a block. I'm also going to grab my Stampin' Scrub because I'm going to need to clean my stamp in between. And my Stampin' Mist. Wet, dry. And let's do Wisteria Wonder first. Doesn't matter which one you do first. And stamp. Pretty. And then I'm going to do my Lemon Lime Twist. See how clean? Looks like I never did anything. And Lemon Lime Twist. Now, notice that center boo-boo. If this stamp were not going to be cut out, that would be an issue, and that's because I pushed too hard. And I pushed too hard because I was rushing. So let's do it again. And I don't get the mess in the middle. I also get a better stamp. So let me show you what I mean. Look at the two of these, and you can see I get much more detail on this one when I didn't have such a heavy hand than the first one where I had a heavy hand. It's because I was rushing and I wasn't taking my time, and as I talk faster, I push harder. Not necessary. Now I'm going to take, this is from our Thinlits, it's this stamp set, and I'm going to do the flowers together. Okay, so let's go over to the Big Shot. And let's take this off. These are those itty bitty little things. You'll notice the magnet that I have. Those of you that have been here before, we've talked about buying the magnets that go on the floor. to cover up heaters. You'll find them at the hardware store, and then cutting them down to the 5x7. And I kept saying, I wondered if the ones from Stamp and Storage were better. They're 1,000 times better. They do not fall off. They don't come off. So the magnet on these is much, much, much stronger. So yes, you can use the other ones, but the stamps, the thinlits will come off. So if you want, you've invested that much money in these, and you can reuse them. So say you get rid of this stamp set and this bundle, and you share it with a friend, or you give it away, or you don't have it anymore, you can use these again. But they're really great. It's Stamp and Storage, and I'll put the link in the classroom too if you haven't seen them before. They're really great to work with, and they're a great company too. Okay, so I want the full wreath of green. I'm trying to figure out how this flower goes. This looks weird. There it is. You just have to kind of think like a flower in a wreath. Okay, so that goes like that. And then this one, I just want the flowers. Okay, so I'm going to do it like that. And then run it on through. So here's our wreath, and here's our flowers. Let's bring these back over here. And so now I can have the same look. I can make them be a little bit dimensional by using the minis. And then this is going to go on the door. Like so. I broke off my fingernail, and it feels like I shut it in the door. I broke it down too far, and it really is sore. So it seems like it's 10 times bigger, and I'm sure you can all see. It doesn't look all that short, but it's short enough that it hurts. This way. Okay, then we bring our door back. And now this, with a dimensional, is going to go on the front of the door. Now, if you want the card to open, you can do it that way, like open it up this way and have your sentiment inside. If you just want your message on the outside, you can put your sentiment right here, and then the door will slide over, and there will be another one over here. Is that not adorable? Super cute door. I really like it. And it's fussy, but it's not that bad. It really isn't. Once the trick to it is getting the little sandwich between either washers or using your cardstock. If you look on the sketch, I did the shape of I did the sizes, and I also put the size of the washer that you want. I'm not a hardware girl kind of person. They said you want a number 6 washer in the directions. I would take a little mini dimensional with me when you go, and make sure it can't go through the center. So you don't want one like that, because the dimensional will just go right through it. And you could use a flat one. You could use a coin, I guess, but they'd be too big. You really don't need them that large. You just need them bigger than the mini dimensional. Okay? Anybody have any questions on what we did? Right? Super cute. So it's barn door. I'll have the list up of all the stuff that I used. And any questions that you have, please feel free to drop me a note. You know that I'm happy to answer any questions. Those of you that might be new here, let me just show you quick where you'll find the recording and what you'll be looking at. So let me stop this and let's go here. If you just go to my blog, which is karamiller.com, which is the easy part, let's share our screen. Is it now? Okay, good. So you're just going to go to karamiller.com, and then you're going to, hold on, let me get me back up here so you're not staring at an empty big shot. Hello, I'm back. And then you're going to click where it says Classroom. I also put them in the blog, which is right here. And when you go to the blog, it'll have, here's the sketches from when we did before, news that's going on. But if you just want to see the recording, go to Classroom. And there's classes that you pay for, but there's also free ones. This is the one that says Lucy. You want to click on that. It's free. If you've not already done it, you want to make sure that you join this class. And then you will get everything that I teach on Wednesday nights, and tonight's Thursday, and sometimes a Tuesday. You'll get those recordings. So for example, here's last night's. If you click on Waterfront, if you come in, you will see these are the supplies that we used. These are the sketches from last night. And then this is the class from last night. And yes, you can download them so that you can watch them not online. You can put them on your iPad if you want. And that's the way they are for every single one. So Barn Door right now has just the picture of it. It will have the recording shortly. Picture of my daughter's door. There's the sketch, which shows you your circles or your number 6 washers. And you can download that as well. The supply list will be here along with the recording. Okay? Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming. And I will see you all next week. Bye.